Hi everybody, my name is Jessie and I do perfume reviews in ASMR format. So if you enjoy perfume and also ASMR, you are in a good place for our video today. Today I'm doing a review of a sample that I have of, this is the Chanel Chance Eau Splendide. I think I'm saying that right, Eau Splendide. Funny enough, it's in the same, it has the same color as the Chanel Chance Eau Tendre, but as you can see, the Eau Splendide is more of like a purple color, and if you look at the bottle here, it's really like a warm purple, kind of like a pink purple. This is, I feel like, a fairly close match. Is the closest clothing article color that I had. But yeah, I love the bottle. I mean, I love all of the Chanel Chance bottles. They're nice round look and colors. So yeah, I'll basically be spraying this and doing a little review for you today. I did wear it once, so I'm vaguely familiar with it, but I only wore it once. And I'll also touch on, as I tend to do, I'll touch on later in the video some of my other fragrances. I have Chanel Chance Eau Fresh, and this is a very old bottle, but this is Chanel Chance Eau Tendre. I also own Chanel's Coco Mademoiselle, the Eau de Parfum, just the original Eau de Parfum. And I also have a little travel spray from the L'Exclusive line. This is Chanel's 1957. So I'll just touch on those later in the video since they're in my collection. I like all of those fragrances quite a bit. Okay, so back to Eau Splendide. I'm going to pull this up on Fragrantica, but I believe this was a 2025 launch, so it's brand new. Yeah, 2025. So I'll go ahead and give it a spray. My cat is clawing on my chair in the background. Not great for the furniture. Oh, this is pretty. We've got a little flower. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a spray and then just let it dry down a minute and let you know what I'm smelling right away. And like I said, I have smelled this before. I have worn it before. I will tell you, it was not exactly what I was imagining based on the notes, and especially because of the color. It's got like a more purple color, and it has notes of, I mean, gosh, I should check to see if these notes are correct on Fragrantica, but it lists violet and iris as well as some red notes, so I was really thinking it'd be a little bit more like purple floral, but it's really not super purple floral in my book. I'm going to look up the notes just elsewhere to see if they're matching. Okay, I looked online. I think the notes are correct on Fragrantica, basically. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give it a smell and kind of give you my first impression currently, because I've smelled it before. Okay, so this is a very likable, fruity floral. It's just very easy on the nose, easy to wear, fruity, fun, I would say girly. Makes me think of more spring, summer. A little, almost like a little bit of an aquatic feel. I mean, not overtly, but kind of like a crisp, like a juicy, dewy, fruity floral, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's really all I can say. And I was surprised because, I don't know, with the purple color, and I just thought it was going to be a little bit more like iris and violet heavy, maybe because it had that purple color, so I was just leaning in that direction in my idea before I smelled it. But anyway, I will go ahead and tell you the notes according to Fragrantica, which, like I said, I think are pretty accurate. So for our top notes, we've got 5 top notes. They are red fruits, so just generic red fruits, raspberry, peach, rose, and violet. So fruits and florals. Yeah, I would say I'm getting red fruits in general. I mean, raspberry is a red fruit, so yeah, I would say I'm getting like red fruits, and again, they come across like a little bit almost like crisp and slightly aquatic to me. Fresh, not like too heavy or syrupy, if that makes sense. Peach, I don't know, not so much. I would say more the red fruits, raspberry. And then yeah, I definitely think I get some rose and violet. Violet's like a very delicate floral, so I could see that in the background, but it's not a standout, just in part because you get so much fruit that the violet it would be hard for it to stand out. Okay, for our middle notes, we've just got 2 middle notes listed. They're florals, and they are iris and rose geranium. I really don't get a whole lot of iris. I could see it in the background, but again, it's mostly fruity to me, so I think the iris to me has just got to be somewhere in the background. I do feel like I get that rose geranium, maybe even more than the rose. Like, I feel like rose geranium just has a very it's like a prominent floral often when I see it in perfumes. So yeah, I do get that rose geranium. Kind of adds to this like warm red feel of the fragrance. And then lastly, for our base notes, we've got 2 base notes, and they are white musk and cedar. And I do get a little bit of musk and maybe cedar, I don't know. But really what I'm going to say I'm getting most from this fragrance is like raspberry / red fruits, rose geranium, rose, somewhere in there. There's those purple florals, but they're not super strong. A little bit of musk, maybe a touch of cedar. And I'm going to show the other votes on Fragrantica, and it's kind of similar to what I'm saying. The red fruits, raspberry, rose, musk, purple florals, rose geranium, so a little similar, but definitely heavy on the fruits, which is kind of different for Chanel. Well, gosh, I'm not like an expert on Chanel, but I feel like I cannot think of a Chanel fragrance off the top of my head that is kind of like this, I don't know how to say, relatable, typical designer. Like, usually Chanel, I feel like leans a little bit more classic smelling, and maybe has a little more patchouli or florals, but not so much fruity is what I feel like I've noticed. So this one definitely comes off as very modern, and some people are probably gonna like it, some people are probably gonna be like, think it's not really that special. I think it's really pretty. I wouldn't say I think it smells incredibly special or unique, though. Maybe not worth the price tag. Yeah. So, I'll come back to this in a minute. We'll go and read some other information on Fragrantica, read some reviews, but I'll take this moment now to just do a little detour and tell you about my other Chanel fragrances that I own. So we'll start with Chanel Chance Eau Fraiche. This is the green one, and it is the Eau de Toilette, and you can tell because it has the plastic top, whereas the Eau de Parfum version, which is, I think, was released like a year ago, has the metal top. I actually have the smaller version of this. It's like 1.2 milliliters, but somebody just gifted me this giant bottle. I guess it's only 3 point. No, this is 5 ounces. It's huge. So now I have this giant one too. Anyway, this fragrance is beautiful. It's very popular. It's fresh, a little bit woody, musky, like citrusy, a little green, and a little bit unisex. Definitely leans, you know, a little more unisex, I would say. Just very fresh. You get a nice dose of patchouli, but it comes through in a very likable Chanel way. Yeah, so this one's great for spring and summer, and just a great fragrance. So just go ahead and smell it in stores if you haven't. And then here is a smaller bottle. This is 1.7 ounces of Chanel's Chance Eau Tendre. This is a very popular fragrance. I was also gifted this recently, but it's over the hill. As you can see, the color is supposed to be more of like a pink, you know, like that. And it's kind of faded, and when I smell it, I can smell that it's gone off, but I can still tell you what it smells like. It's a fruity floral. It's a rose, but it's I guess this one, yeah, if there had to be like a more fruity kind of modern Chanel fragrance, it would probably be this one, as well as the one I'm reviewing, the Splendide. But yeah, it's got like rose. I think it's got some citruses in it. I used to own the Eau de Parfum version. This is the Eau de Toilette with the plastic top. The Eau de Parfum has the metal top. The Eau de Parfum is a little bit softer than the Eau de Toilette. It's a little less citrusy. It's got a quince note, a rose, quite a bit of musk, and grapefruit. So it's just very soft and beautiful and feminine. And yeah, really pretty. This one's similar, but I think it's a little more fresh, like a little more shower shampoo type of vibe. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Maybe I'll try to just sell the bottle and explain that it's over the hill. Maybe someone will want it. I'm not sure. So that's Chanel Chance Eau Tendre. Either you can get that in the Eau de Toilette or the Eau de Parfum. And then this is Chanel's Coco Mademoiselle. This is a very popular Chanel fragrance as well. This is the Eau de Parfum. There's an Eau de Toilette. There's quite a few other versions of this. There's an Eau de Parfum Intense, but I just have the original Eau de Parfum, and it's so beautiful. It's a very classic, a bit of a mature smell. You get quite a bit of patchouli, but a very clean, refined patchouli. There's rose, there's orange, patchouli in the base. There's quite a few other floral notes and other notes, but yeah, just a really pretty floral citrus patchouli, I guess what you'd call like a kind of like a modern chypre fragrance. Yeah, so that's Coco Mademoiselle. And then lastly, like I mentioned, I do have this little travel size of Chanel's 1957. This is from their L'Exclusive line, the expensive line. This fragrance to me is like very Chanel in that it has like a very like classic, classy vibe, clean, chic, very put together. This is just really like a musk. It's a very clean, put together musk. So lots of musk. There's also some slightly like woody notes. There's iris. So it's like a powdery, clean musk. There's also aldehydes. So it's definitely like grounded, powdery, musky, a little earthy, but also the aldehydes really kind of like give it a bit of a brightness and clean freshness. What else is in here? There's like a coriander note, but honestly, I don't really get that myself. I forget the other notes, but there's quite a few in here, but it's really mostly like a clean, powdery musk that I've just never smelled anything quite like, and it's expensive and I don't feel like it has the best longevity, but you know, sometimes you just wind up paying the price if you like it enough. And I just have this tiny little travel, so it wasn't too expensive. Yeah, so that's 1957 by Chanel. Okay, so now that I've showed you some of my other Chanel fragrances, let's go ahead and go back to Splendide, and I'll just go over some other stats according to Mercari. So like I said, this was launched in 2025, so it is a brand new release. Let's see, on Fragrantica right now, it has a rating of 3.75 out of 5 with 412 votes. So already people are starting to smell it and, you know, review it on here, and it doesn't have the best rating. And, you know, honestly, I'm not surprised, because like I said, it's nice, it's very wearable and easy, but there's nothing super special about it. To me, like, if I didn't know a lot about perfumes and this was gifted to me as like one of my first perfumes, I would be so happy, because it's just pretty, it's fresh, it's feminine, it's easy to wear. But because I've smelled, you know, hundreds, probably thousands of fragrances, for me, there's nothing particularly special or unique about this. It doesn't even necessarily make me think, oh, Chanel. You know, a lot of Chanel fragrances, you think, oh, that smells like Chanel. This one doesn't really, so I feel like they could have maybe done something to make it a little more special, or a little more like signature to the brand, if that makes sense. What else? So people are also, they're rating the longevity as like moderate, maybe slightly weaker, like a 4 out of 10. I wore it, and you know, I could definitely smell it. I spray on my clothes. I could spray it. I could smell it on my clothes for hours later, but I personally felt like the sillage was very intimate, meaning it did not project. Like, I could not really even smell it unless I brought it up to smell. That was what I found, and it was a little surprising, because it is such a fruity fragrance, and oftentimes you think fruity might project a little bit more, but that's what I found. Other people are rating the sillage as pretty intimate as well, so I think that we can mostly agree on that. For gender, people are saying it's pretty feminine. I agree, nothing really masculine about it. And some comparisons people are making are Dior Addict Eau Fresh 2014. I've never smelled that. Some people are also comparing it to Versace's Bright Crystal, but there's quite a few thumbs down on that comparison. I wouldn't compare it to that, but I could see how it's in that direction a little bit. I think Bright Crystal is much more like clean, bright, and citrus. This doesn't really have much of it has a bit of like a freshness and a brightness, but not in a citrusy way. Although I'd believe it if there was a citrus note in here. So those are a couple comparisons people have made. And yeah, I'll go ahead and just read a few reviews on Fragrantica. Somebody says, it's beautiful, smells very gentle, elegant, and feminine, smells like the color lilac. I love all Chanel Chance perfumes. I would have bought it immediately. Unfortunately, it's too gentle. After 30 minutes, it becomes a skin scent on me. Yeah, it is gentle, for sure. It has a bit of that Chanel Chance Eau Tendre vibe, in the sense that it's very gentle. Okay, let's see. Somebody says, wore this today and I am unimpressed. It doesn't smell bad, but it's very generic. All I could get on my skin at first was the violet note, and then a little bit of berry came through after a few hours. Projection is good though. Okay. Somebody else says, solid new release, stays close to all the Chance range, some same DNA with a hint of elegant sweetness, would make a perfect spring and summer fragrance. I don't really find the DNA that similar, I guess. I don't know. Honestly, this is why, like, fragrant, everybody's ideas around scent is so different. So, let's see what else. Somebody says this one is nice but not groundbreaking. It's easy to wear but doesn't last very long. I think it would appeal to a wide range of ages. The price is high for what it is, but it's a pretty perfume that many would enjoy. I very much agree with that review. Let's find one more review. Somebody says, I smelled it just from the bottle, but it was very sparkly and fruity, very punchy top notes. That's all I can really say until I actually try it on the skin. I wish I smelled it more. I wish it smelled more like purple flowers rather than fruit, though, as I feel the color of the bottle is misleading. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt, like, because it was purple, I was like, oh, is this going to be more of like a purple floral? And to me, it's really not. It's just more fruity, light, fresh, pretty, fun. Yeah, so that's my review of Chanel Chen's Eau Splendide. I like it. I'm not personally going to be buying a bottle. It's nice. It's nice. It's a little bit forgettable, I would say, but very safe. I think it'd make a great Christmas present, especially for someone who doesn't know a lot about fragrances, but maybe would be excited about a really fancy brand like Chanel. If they're not excited about a fancy brand like Chanel, maybe just get a cheaper fragrance, because this is not cheap. Anyway, everybody, that's my review. I hope you'll enjoy. I'm sending you peace, love, beauty, and harmony, and I'll catch you again soon. Okay, bye.